FM. Some days more than others, right? Welcome, folks. Are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab? Maybe we all need a little radio rehab today.
I'm ready. I think the world is ready and in need.
Amen. Hey, welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and she is psychotherapist PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan. And we're glad you've joined us here on Strategies for Living. You know, how many times, Lauren, have we said on this program, how many times do we say there are no coincidences, right?
Too far to count and too far to be a coincidence.
So a little behind the scenes stuff, right?
Yeah.
Last week, we did a program, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, on RESPECT.
Yeah,
right?
I think that was Tuesday,
okay.
I believe.
And each week we make a determination of, and we have to do that at least by Friday, right? We have to make a determination of which program to air on Sunday.
Right,
Because we don't come in and do a live show
the
Sunday
magic
mornings.
Of radio, right?
The magic of radio.
Yeah.
And so you and I both agreed to do the RESPECT.
Yeah, well,
RESPECT.
You had a book picked out, and
I did,
and I got a nudging that I think maybe the RESPECT would be a good show, Sunday show.
And then we were driving to church Sunday morning in light of everything that happened this weekend, the attempted assassination attempt, and all the things that have played out that we all know. And it's okay. No coincidence here, right? No coincidence that.
I think we were nudged the right direction.
I think so, and that's some of what I want to talk about this evening. I think if we will listen, if we'll truly tune in and listen, we are all being nudged.
Yes, we are.
We are all being given an invitation, if you will. And the question is not whether the invitation is being extended to us.
No, it's whether you're listening choose to accept or engage.
Are we listening, and what will we do moving forward? That's some of what I want to talk about this evening.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that have, that have played out in the last 48, 72 hours, right? And we don't generally do politics, and we're not going to do politics this evening. We're going to do humanity. We're going to do we're going to do life.
Okay, I like that. That's all we can do. Life
101. Folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, and Hempress Cannabis with Love, and the Shreveport Little Theater. Back in a moment. We do need strategies for living, that is. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
And welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, and we welcome you into Strategy. Wow, how 24, 48, 72 hours can change things.
1 second. One instant is all it takes.
One instant. I mean, how close did we come to a very different? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, wow. It's mind-boggling when you stop and think about it. And a lot of times the feminine is something that the world needs more of.
Say that again.
The feminine is, we need the balance between masculine and feminine, right?
Yeah.
And Melania Trump issued a statement not long after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
Right.
And, you may or may not have heard all of it. It's fairly brief, but you've probably just heard snippets in the news.
Yeah.
Here's the entirety of it. It's dated July the 14th, 2024. I'm thinking of you now, my fellow Americans. We have always been a unique nation. America, the fabric of our gentle nation, is tattered, but our courage and common sense must ascend and bring us back together as one. When I watched that violent bullet strike my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change. I am grateful to the brave Secret Service agents and law enforcement officials who risked their own lives to protect my husband. To the families of the innocent victims who are now suffering from this heinous act, I humbly offer my sincerest sympathy. Your need to summon your inner strength for such a terrible reason saddens me. A monster who recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine attempted to wring out Donald's passion, his laughter, ingenuity, love of music, and inspiration. The core facets of my husband's life, his human side, were buried below the political machine. Donald, the generous and caring man who I have been with through the best of times and the worst of times. Let us not forget that differing opinions, policy, and political games are inferior to love. Our personal, structural, and life commitment until death is at serious risk. Political concepts are simple when compared to us, human beings. We are all humans, and fundamentally, instinctively, we want to help one another. American politics are only one vehicle that can uplift our communities. Love, compassion, kindness, and empathy are necessities. And let us remember that when the time comes to look beyond the left and the right, beyond the red and the blue, we all come from families with the passion to fight for a better life together while we're here in this earthly realm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I had only heard snippets.
Yeah,
and it is,
And
in fact, a disservice to the entire message, in my opinion.
In its entirety, I think what the former First Lady did was she hit exactly the notes that we need to keep in mind over the next months. I mean, the excitement is what it is. I mean, a lot of people, including yours truly, have been strapped to the television.
Yes, I know.
Much to your chagrin.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, how much more information do we need? Do I need?
I am glad you were listening.
I was listening. I was indeed listening, and at the same time, I mean, I think we're humans, and you know, I think that Melania Trump is hitting on a lot of things that that it's important for us to keep in mind right now. First of all, you know, she said she admits that she fully understands, as likely we should all remain conscious of, that you know, she and her and her son's life, Barron and her life, were on the brink of of devastating change. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, literally
In an instant.
literally, our life can change within instances and it's
Moments. Each present moment
yes,
is a gift.
and it's not a matter of inches; it's a matter of millimeters. If former President Trump had turned just a millimeter different,
Right.
we could be having a very different conversation this evening. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's something that we have to keep in mind. You know, and I think another thing that she brings to the forefront that I'm very glad that she did is very early in her statement, she talks about the humanity. I mean, you know, we think sometimes of, I think, our politicians, whether national or local, we almost think of them as something other than.
Right. They become a character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think she also hit well upon, you know, that Donald, her husband, right, is someone who enjoys music and
Who laughs and is ingenious and inspiring and is a father. And, you know, she points out that the person who tried to do this was, I suppose, responding to the political machine.
See, again, we don't
know that. No.
That was one part that I think was a little, you know, of course it's coming from a place of hurt, and so I understand.
Sure.
However, you know, we don't know that, again, the person who shot was also a human.
Absolutely.
Also a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who made choices.
Yeah. Yeah, we might look at them and say pretty awful choices.
I am not condoning anything
Yeah.
at all, but I am reinstating something that Melania has brought up herself, that we're all human.
Yeah.
You know, even the person behind the gun was human.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, we don't know. And apparently this young man was disturbed, was very disturbed. Apparently, you know, it's been reported that he was bullied, you know, and
Again, we don't know the whole story.
no, we don't know the whole story.
And this is the story that's being presented to us by, you know, who's left behind.
right.
We do not know the whole story. We don't know this man. Just as we don't know Trump and his totality as a man.
Or Biden.
And you know,
his
the only
totality.
person who knows each of those individuals in their totality for who they are?
Well, them.
Them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's the job for all of us. So it's, again, you know, it is so. Even it's interesting, Lauren. Even in the calls on both sides of the aisle to tone down and to dial down the rhetoric, right?
You know, I hope they hold true.
I do
Although
too.
to me,
I do too. But let me make a point.
Go
here.
ahead.
Let me make a point.
Okay.
Even in the, you know, even in their calls, respective calls to dial down the rhetoric, and I saw this among many I saw it, in many cases. So I won't name names.
Okay.
But even during that rhetoric, there was that call to dial down.
Was the dialing up.
Was a zinger here and a zinger there. Mm-hmm. And I realize that is extremely hard to monitor.
But that's the job of getting to know yourself and your ego.
Okay. Yeah.
That's totally what the call there is for.
Right.
Being able to take the walls down.
Right.
The walls that are there are the ego, which are your individual stories.
Right.
And it's being able to see through that to what are we creating together? What is the story that we're putting out? What is the story that we're telling ourselves and that we're telling the nation? It's important that we take responsibility for that stories.
Absolutely. No question about that. Absolutely no question about that. And responsibility is a soul. It's a soul thing.
Absolutely.
SOLE and SOUL.
Yes, both.
It is a soul thing, and it is a soul thing. And as we are all concerned about, some of the rhetoric that we've heard is about the soul of our nation, right?
Yes.
SOUL.
Yeah.
Well, we all have an individual soul to be concerned with.
Mm-hmm. That comprises the nation. And
it is our soul, SOLE, responsibility to determine what is our path forward? How are we going to move forward? I'm going to propose that, if you're a regular listener to Strategies for Living, and I hope you are, we've proposed some interesting things in the last couple of years that might prove valuable in this time, including,
as always,
what we ran on Sunday, RESPECT. Respect is what we need. We'll be back. More Strategies for Living as we kind of take our look at the events of this past weekend. We'll be right back. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. How many times do I say there is no place like Robinson Film Center?
You don't say it enough.
Well, no, I probably don't. And there is no place like the Robinson Film Center. I mean, where do you go to see current movies that you're not going to see anyplace else? Well, Robinson Film Center. Find out what's showing at robinsonfilmcenter.org. And then you've got Abby Singer's Bistro, right? Full-service bistro and bar, second floor of the Robinson.
That's what I can't get enough of.
Oh, man. So, here's what you want to do. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with LearningRx Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, LearningRx Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call LearningRx Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does LearningRx Shreveport.
And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. And, just like everybody else, we're looking back at... Processing, yeah. I think in some ways we've all been traumatized. I mean, again... Again, we've all
and for
to
me,
some degree had trauma.
For me, this is my first time to witness such an event.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. In my lifetime, you know, I was a little kid when President Kennedy was assassinated, and I was in the seventh grade when Bobby Kennedy was assassinated, or going into the seventh grade actually, because it happened in 1968. So I would have been going into my seventh grade year, and you know, and then of course the attempted assassination attempt on Gerald Ford. That happened. There were 2 attempts in a short period of time. Then the attempt on President Reagan's life in 1981. It's you know, it's for me, it's all too you know, even though it's been years and years, and you want to think, okay, this is all behind us. We're human, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm reminded of a couple of things that we talk about a lot. You know, sometimes we talk about what is the opposite of love. And a lot of times when you ask that, people will immediately say, well, it's hate.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I think hate and love are, you know, both, they're very close to each other.
They both take a tremendous amount of energy.
Yes.
And in fact, I would say if you have enough energy to hate, you're truly expressing love through a different different filtered belief system.
Yeah, and so, you know, that may need to be looked at by you.
Yeah.
In terms of, but that's an invitation. Mm-hmm. But hate and love are so very close. You know, some people would say, well, fear is the opposite of love. And I think fear gets close because fear blocks energy. Love and hate both are states of extreme energy, right?
Yeah.
Fear can block energy.
Sure.
And so, and we talked about this some last week, as a matter of fact, the anxiety and the fear, the stress that is going on.
Fear blocks energy, and yet it takes a tremendous amount of energy to be fearful.
Yes.
It just takes the same amount of energy and puts that towards blocking.
Right.
As opposed to allowing it to flow through.
I think the absolute opposite of love is indifference.
Yeah.
Because indifference is a state of absolutely no energy. None. And so in that regard, indifference is the opposite of love. So with regard to everything that is going on in our country and our world right now, perhaps the thing that we don't want to do, the thing that we really want to avoid is indifference.
Yeah, to become complacent.
Yeah, or to become I'm above it. I don't care about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't think that's an answer.
No, that's denial.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, we are being given right now at this unique time in our history.
We're given grand opportunities.
Yes.
And to me, it's not just seen in this one incident. It is definitely a culmination to this incident in particular. But throughout this month, this year, maybe the past few years, a lot has bubbled up to the surface.
Right.
And just like we do in individual counseling, individual therapy, as you begin to open up and come to the room with things begin to bubble up.
Right.
Right. And you can suppress it. You can say, I'm not looking at it. You can deny it. You can become indifferent.
Right.
However, that never solves the problem, and it will continue to rear its head in much uglier fashions.
Right.
which
When
we will see,
Right.
which can be happening collectively if we do not look at it now.
Individually and collectively, if we shove things down and don't deal with it,
It comes outside.
it comes out in another way. And oftentimes that other way is not real pleasant
No, not.
for us individually or us collectively. So, I think the only, the only answer for us is to understand that I don't want to be indifferent,
No.
and that the other states of energy in play are fear, which is a big blocker of the energy of love,
Right.
and hate, which is so very close to love.
Yeah.
And, I think the Beatles were right. All you
we
need is love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people besides the Beatles, but I'm quoting the Beatles song. And we need a little bit more of that now than ever before, towards each other individually, and towards us collectively. Our country needs a lot of love right now.
It does. And you started the program with an interesting idea. You started it off with Melania Trump and the idea that we need more of the feminine. And, I've played with that idea recently that, we were founded by fathers, right?
You're right.
We were a fathered country, and we have been up until this point.
Right.
And I think what the country needs, and perhaps the world more than anything right now, we need some mothering.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need so much fathering. You fathers have done a great job. I'll give you that.
Okay,
Really.
okay,
Maybe we've gone a little farther than we needed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need some mothering.
Yeah.
And mothering to me entails nurturing. It entails compassion. Only a mother brings another being into the world
Right.
through pain and suffering.
Right.
Only a mother knows that.
I don't disagree with you, Lauren, but I'm going to add to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And and perhaps for a little while, we need a kind of to be able to balance. Sometimes you've got to get out of balance for it to come back into, and so maybe we do need more of the feminine right now. But what we truly need to move toward is a balance between the masculine and the feminine.
Absolutely. And I also want to make clear when I say we need mothering and we need more feminine, I'm not implying that we need Barbie, right? I'm not implying that we need a female president. I'm not implying it has to be a female.
Right.
I'm implying within each of us are both of these energies, the masculine
Absolutely,
and feminine,
yes.
reside within each of us.
Yes.
And it's about allowing each of us to embrace more. I think so much of us have had to put on this hard, rugged, masculine, even the females in the world, because females entering the workplace have to
compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've had to be a little more masculine in some senses.
Yeah. And I think you're onto something. I mean, even to survive so many times in the workplace, in the world, the females have had to take on that maybe perhaps uncomfortable place of being overly masculine.
Yeah.
And a balance is what we need to go for. In relationship counseling, we talk about in relationships there are 4 deadly horsemen.
Yes.
And I think at this point in time, we really need to be aware of those deadly horsemen.
I like this. I like where it's going. And before you go there, I want to introduce the idea that we are in relationship with everything.
And everyone.
And everyone, including our country. Right?
Dr. John Gottman put forth four deadly horsemen in relationships. They'll kill relationships.
Yeah.
And he says when you see in an individual relationship, when you see two or more of these horsemen riding, it's a real problem.
Right.
Right? He says when you see three or so, the incidence of divorce, the probability of it goes way up. So the four deadly horsemen are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling.
Yeah.
Now, it's pretty simple, right?
It is.
It's pretty simple, but like a lot of things, the things that are so very simple sometimes are also very, very hard to, in the reality of the moment, how do I check myself in terms of criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling?
Yeah.
Well, the first step is to be conscious of them.
To be aware.
The first step is to be aware of these are deadly horsemen in relationship. Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling. And if I am aware that these are deadly horsemen in relationships, and I care at all about the relationship that I'm involved in with whoever,
or with whatever,
including with myself,
with yourself,
then
with your country.
I want to stay aware
Yeah.
that these four things, criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, can cause damage, extreme damage.
Yeah.
We're revisiting all of the things that have taken place in this past weekend, and hopefully giving some food for thought,
Reframing
and strategies for moving ahead.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. It's been going on for 101 years now. I'm talking about the Shreveport Little Theater. Been enriching our lives through the performing arts and education and opportunities to volunteer service guided by professional artists. They've been at it a long time. And up next, beautiful, the Carole King musical is the summer musical this year. And have you seen the 24-25 season? My goodness. Neil Simon's Brighton Beach memoirs, Steel Magnolias, It's a Wonderful Life, Doubt, I Love You, You're Perfect Now, Change, and then May We All, a new country musical. You need to get your season tickets right now. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. It is American theater at its best at 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport. Shreveport Little Theater. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM. 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. And Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. So it's interesting what we've just been talking about off the air and in between.
Yeah.
You let yourself be exposed a little bit too much to, this is the world we live in is a 24-hour news cycle that just goes on and on and on and on.
And it's the same.
And
you get little, you get little pieces more. And I guess that's why we stay engaged, right? It's because you get fed little breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
More
well,
each time.
different people are engaged. It's not a one size fits all. I mean, for instance, I knew we were going to have to do a radio program, this for the next week. And I knew that part of what I needed to take was
in service for the collective.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, I needed to, but at the same time, as it was overflow for you, then you've got to be responsible to take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that would include saying, okay, well, we've created a space in our home
Right.
where we both have retreats. Maybe one of the day soon we'll talk about that,
Yeah.
because I think that's a healthy thing.
I think it's important.
And it's important. But we have that, although we don't have a massive house.
Right. So I'd have
your retreat still hears
right.
the volume of the TV.
Because some people can't hear very well.
Uh-huh.
No, just kidding.
But it's a simple, that's a simple solution to say, hey, would you turn that down a bit?
Yeah.
And, and you did that a couple of times,
A couple times.
not when you were in your room, but when you were in the kitchen or whatever. Yeah. So the other thing that I want to talk about a bit, we mentioned with some regularity Don Miguel Ruiz and his 4 Agreements, his wonderful, wonderful little book,
Yes.
The 4 Agreements.
Definitely.
And I think these contain some strategies that all of us can use, beginning with us individually. So if you're serious, and I think we all are right now, about toning down the
drama,
the vitality, the intensity, that the fever pitch that we've been operating under. I mean, I think everybody sees the need and is voicing in their own way the need. So the question is how? How do we do that? Well,
and I might add that I don't know. Again, energy is energy. It is what it is.
right.
And right now on the planet, in the world, in our country, the energy is high, simply because of the conditions that are around us, right?
Right.
And so we really can't just turn it down, so to speak. We can't actually delete energy. That's not the way energy works.
Right.
What we can do is transmute it,
Right.
right, and change it.
And that is done within the self.
Right.
Within yourself.
And these agreements are a path towards transmuting.
They're one set of strategies that can be used to address that within yourself.
Yes.
And so the 4 agreements are, number 1, be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your words. Don Miguel Ruiz points out the power of words.
Yeah.
Words have power. Words have energy. Words that we say outward to people and words that we say to ourselves in our head.
Yes.
So be impeccable with your word. Really be conscious of the words that you're saying to yourself first and foremost, because those are going to be the sponsoring agents, if you will, for the words that go out into the...
It's the filter.
Absolutely. Yes. So be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. That's another agreement that you can make with yourself that will dramatically affect. Because, and he points this out, and I hope people will, if you have not read the book, The 4 Agreements,
the world will be a better place if we can.
It's a simple little book, but it's a life-changing book. So don't take anything personal, because really nothing is personal.
No.
Whatever is passed on to us, that we might, that our ego self might become offended by, is not about us. It's about that other person. It's about the person that is giving us whatever it is that we take offense to. If
anything and everything people say says way more about them than it does about who they're saying it to.
Right. Another agreement, and I think it's kind of related to don't take things personally, don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
Don't assume that I think that's one of the points that you were making in the first segment. That
we don't know. We
don't know. We don't know. And even if it's fully and totally investigated and
Right.
it's reported that okay, here's the story, We don't know we can't know the totality.
We can't.
Yeah.
We can never do that.
And
The only thing we can ever know the totality of is ourselves and our story
right.
and how we choose.
And really that's where we can do the most good.
Yeah.
Instead of pointing so much of our energy out toward whatever, whether it's politics or whether it's an individual.
Any energy pointed out towards change or control, you can only go so far with that.
Right. The kingdom is within. So the invitation is to point inward. I mean, again, thank goodness, President Trump is fine.
Yes.
President Trump is okay. But, we're reminded in this election and this has reminded us
Everybody bleeds.
the frailty, yes, everybody bleeds, and the frailty of human life. In fact, before this started, everybody was stirred up about the age of President Biden.
Right.
And his ability to serve.
That is an interesting theme that's arisen.
Yeah.
Is life.
Life and how fragile that life is, how quickly. So,
What if that's another opportunity in all of this? It is to examine that end of life and what life means.
Could well
and
be.
how we want to spend it.
The fourth agreement is always do your best. And that's the call. That's the clarion call right now for all of us.
And that doesn't mean the best. It means your
best. Your best. And your
which
best
is different.
Your best in this moment.
Right.
Your best in this very moment. Your best in this moment may not be the same as your best 30 minutes later.
Absolutely not.
Or 24 hours later. Yeah. Strategies for living. And going over the things that we've all been over so many times, but maybe with a little different strategy, a little different look on things.
Hopefully.
I hope
that's
so.
What we aim to do.
I hope so. That's what we're all about here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. Love and hate and fear and indifference. What's the opposite of love? Well, it ain't hate. Might be fear, but probably it's indifferent. So we really need to be aware because love is the answer. Love is ultimately the answer for all of us. And be aware. Be aware that we're all in this together as human beings. We all, every single one of us wants to be heard, wants to be understood, wants to be, significant.
Yeah, and we all are.
Yeah.
Just by being here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Be aware. Be aware of, the four deadly horsemen that can happen in any relationship.
Yeah.
Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling. As humans, we can so easily go there.
Well,
we can so
and we
easily get into
easily see it everywhere.
it. Absolutely.
It's on glaring display.
Yep. And so what are we to do? Tune in. Tune in inside, because the answer for us is be more aware of what's going on inside of us.
Yes.
The kingdom is within.
And take care of that.
Take care of that. And if you do that, if everybody sweeps in front of their house, the whole street becomes clean. So there you go. There you go. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you. We appreciate you being with us here on Strategies for Living. And we appreciate our sponsors making it all possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing
Woof, woof.
and Learning RX and Hempress Cannabis with Love and the Shreveport Little Theater. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call to make, who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time, right here on Strategies for Living.